Welcome to the Burn Bootcamp podcast. I'm your host, Morgan Klein, co-founder and CEO, along with my husband and company visionary, Devin Klein.
And together, with our amazing team, we are going to help you push past your limits, not just physically in our gyms, but right here, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually on the Burn Bootcamp podcast.
Together, we will take on challenges and break through barriers to transform into the best possible version of ourselves. We are more than a gym. We are a community. Your community. Let's go, Burn Nation.
Burn Nation! Welcome to the Burn Bootcamp podcast. I am your host, Devin Klein, or some of you call me DK, all right? And what I'm here to do today is to help you get to the next level in your health and fitness journey. And the way we're going to do that is by directly answering your questions. It is March 24th. This is Ask Devin Anything, and I am very excited that you're here. Listen, right now, quick update on me. I've got a full day, 2 days worth of meetings downstairs. We're at HQ Studios here, Burn Studios here at HQ, and we got kind of two things going on right now. I'm popping up here for my lunchtime to talk to you guys and to help you, like I said, get to the next level. And then right after this, I'm gonna jet out here and then go work on the business with my leadership team during what we call our quarterly pulse meetings. And it's relevant because today there's a lot of fitness and business questions. So for all my entrepreneurs out there, anybody who is really interested either in entrepreneurship, becoming an entrepreneur is one, in the fitness industry, whether it be on the corporate America side of things, sole proprietor, partnership, whatever it may be. You know, we're going to talk a lot about fitness and business today on the Ask Devin Anything, but I promise for all my people that aren't into business, I will make it relevant for your health journey as well. And so what I'm going to do first is read a handful of questions. I got Chelsea, who is here. Producer Chelsea's here with us, and we might use the internet a little bit just to talk about some different topics and get a different perspective on it. And stay tuned for that. So 3 questions. First, Ryan, Sarasota, Florida. Shout out to Lindsay Schuer, who is a longtime friend and franchise partner of ours. And we appreciate you, Lindsay, and all the sacrifices that you make giving Ryan the ability to bring his question to the table. How has the fitness industry changed over the last 5 years, and where do you see it heading? It's a very good one. I'll explain where I think the fitness industry is going, where it has been, how Burn Bootcamp's a part of that. And also, from a consumer perspective, so from a member perspective, what can you expect as somebody who is a fitness enthusiast? What can you expect from the industry that is providing these services? Number 2, the second question today is Rachel from Knightdale, North Carolina. Shout out to Kip and Katie Downer. By the way, Kip and Katie just opened another location in Gardner, North Carolina. Clayton, North Carolina. And they also have one in Gardner as well. So big business building entrepreneurs there, and Kip and Katie. So Rachel asked from Knightdale, if you could change one thing about the current health and fitness industry, what would it be and why? So Ryan's question is future focused in the fitness business. Rachel's is kind of focused on like here and now. And producer Chelsea thought those would be 2 questions that would go really well together in this. And I couldn't agree more. So 2 more questions for today. We have Monica from Falls Church, Virginia. Shout out to Jonathan and Rebecca, John and Rebecca Metzger, the multi-unit owners, dear friends of mine. I see them all the time here, and like our kids like playing the same baseball leagues together. How do you manage energy levels, Monica asks, throughout the day for peak productivity? Okay, so this is that real hybrid question, like, okay, a business question, peak productivity, or it could be something else that you wouldn't want to be productive in. But I'm assuming, Monica, that you're talking about performance at work and productivity at work in your career and your job. And how do you manage those energy levels for that peak productivity throughout the day? All right, we got some stuff to talk on that one. And then finally, Natalie from Wexford, PA. Okay, Wexford. She asks, what advice can you give a member that is aspiring to be a burn trainer one day? And this wouldn't be possible without Lisa Kostelnick, who is one of the former chairs on our Franchise Advisory Council, which is separate from the meeting, by the way, I'm having downstairs. That's our internal leadership team. But Lisa is intricate in that. And so Lisa, amazing franchise partner, great, amazing contributor to the organization around her. Lisa, we love you very much. And Natalie, we're going to answer your question. So, everyone, listen, 4 questions. We're going to get after it today. I hope you're ready. Makes sense? Say yes. I'll wait. There we go. Okay. Here we go, guys. Ryan from Sarasota, Florida. We're going to dive into Ryan's first question. This will probably be the longest one because there's a lot of stuff to talk about here. But hang with me. Okay. So, Ryan asks, how has the fitness industry changed over the last 5 years, and where do you see it heading? Chelsea, tee up the internet on this one, because what I really want to first do to answer this question is I want to go back to, I want to give perspective to where the fitness industry was, not 5 years in the future, but where it was 100 years ago. Because here's what I know. As we start to look toward the future, what you're going to find is that this industry is really in its infancy stages. And if you go back 100 years, maybe we could pull up Chelsea ChatGPT, or we could pull up Google, or something that you can just give me an overview of what fitness was like 100 years ago. What was the health and fitness industry in? And I know that health and fitness specifically, started because of the military here in America. And so that's the origins of it, but it's obviously evolved. So where was it 100 years ago? So 1 century ago, the fitness industry is much different than it is today. In the 1920s, the physical culture was popular, a movement that emphasized the development of the body through exercise like calisthenics and weightlifting, which we call really conditioning and strength today. This period saw the rise of influential figures like Charles Atlas, who became famous for his muscle building program. Physical fitness during the 1920s was often associated with displays of strength and growing interest in bodybuilding. And it was also the era in which organized sports began in popularity, both in schools and at the community level, contributing to a broader interest in physical fitness. Women's participation in fitness also started to change during this era. While it was still limited, more women began engaging in the sports and in physical activities. Okay, so we'll stop there. So that's kind of a glaring thing, right? 100 years ago, basically it was like societally taboo for women to work out. And now you fast forward to today, it's 75% of the industry that I'm in, the gym membership industry, are female, especially in boutique fitness, okay? And in 2012, what I saw was an opportunity to really bring this idea of athletic training or performance training, not exercise, not activity, because those are kind of unplanned and unhinged and undirected, and they're not programmatic. So I thought it might be good for the world if I took my San Francisco Giants background and my Central Michigan Chippewas background, and I took my strength and conditioning principles and program ideology from that, namely like periodization, which we call mesocycles at Burn Boot Camp, or you might know them as training phases. We took this in 2012 when we said, hey, okay, well, society should train like the athletes. It was very simple. And we started with mom because I was in a position in my professional baseball career where I traveled and I stayed with host families, and I got to see firsthand how, quite frankly, deconditioned and lethargic and unmotivated a lot of just American people were normally, because I grew up in like poverty and I grew up in like chaos, and there was like real problems around me with like jail and prison and like abandonment and like all these things I thought were the normal American problems, because at the time when I'm a kid, I'm not looking at my life being like, oh, poor me. I'm like, oh, this must be how like everyone has it, right? Until you get a little bit older, you realize that's not the case. But I got an opportunity to see what real, actual American problems were once I got outside of my little bubble in 84 Pleasant Avenue, Battle Creek, Michigan. I went out into the world, and I got to go to all these different cities and states, and stayed in Wyoming for a summer and hung out with Nicole DeHope and her family, and just got a chance to see how big of a void there was missing in a familial kind of energy, because there was no health and there was no fitness and there was no confidence, right? And there was no confidence. And so that was, in retrospect, the aha moment. Okay, so where are we going, to answer Ryan's question? Just gave you a little background on the 100-year kind of scene. Women weren't even essentially working out. And then to 2012, when we started Burn Boot Camp, and we thought women should work out harder and more and lift weights and be treated like athletes. And we thought what they were really missing was confidence, and necessarily not like they weren't after like a gym membership. They were after confidence, right? Okay. So where we're at right now, how has the fitness industry changed over the last 5 years? I'm going to really take it since 2012. Okay. Here's how the fitness industry has changed since 2012 to now. Number one, this thing that I've always known and believed in called strength training that helped me get from a little 165-pound kid in high school who aspired to play professional baseball into a 205-pound frame throwing the ball 90 plus miles an hour was strength training. So I always had a personal love for strength training. So this kind of new wave of strength training taken over is kind of the fad that I think everybody sees, but it's not a fad. Let me explain. It's faddy, but it's not a fad. Strength training is not a fad, but the faddish part is when people, organizations jump all into it and say, hey, we're only going to do strength training. It's all we're going to do. I don't think that's the right answer. I think the answer has always been the San Francisco Giants and all Major League Baseball teams and MLB teams and NBA teams, and in my time with the Central Michigan Chippewas, we would train to be well-rounded. Okay, it's strength training for sure, right? And to me, it's number one, the most important piece of it. But we cannot forget conditioning. We cannot forget metabolic conditioning, athletic conditioning, body weight conditioning, or what a lot of people look at as like just cardio. Cardio just means cardiovascular beats per minute of your heart rate. It's conditioning. We're conditioning our systems of our body. Okay, we're conditioning our metabolism, metabolic conditioning. And the number one reason why I think brands and companies are making a mistake of pulling conditioning out is because cardio got a bad rap because the science on strength training became really relevant. But what we failed to realize is that your brain health is the number one, not mental health. We failed to realize that brain health, not mental health, but brain health is extremely important and just as important as strength training's outcome of muscular health or postural health. Stay with me on this because you need strength and you need conditioning. That's why there's 3 days a week at Burn Boot Camp, every single week, week in, week out. But the fad is everyone went to strength training and they forgot that you have this brain-derived neurotropic factor, this blood-brain barrier that this BDNF gets up into your brain and starts to increase the size of your hippocampus, responsible for your memory, longevity, more memories with your family, longer life, brain health. The neuroplasticity health, your ability to change your mind, basically, or rewire your brain, the capacity for memory, the capacity for brain health overall is when you are driving your heart rate up, when you are working out as hard as you can in that conditioning environment, you're not strength training, you're getting your heart rate up, you're increasing your VO2 max, increasing your anaerobic threshold, the amount of lactate that's produced in your body. Now we're starting to talk about all the good stuff that your brain needs in order to function. So it's body and it's brain. Yes, the mind-body connection is already there, but we need these two specific modalities to really be able to do that. So I think the industry, number one, overcorrected for strength training. They forgot about it for a long time. It was all cardio, cardio, cardio. And then, strength training starts to hit the peer-revised medical journals, and people start to lean into strength training, and now they forgot about the conditioning piece of it. When in reality, it was never one or never the other. It's always a balance of both. That's where the future of the modality is. I think I'll add on to that. Here's what's going to happen over the long run. I'd say like the next 10 years. What's going to happen is our boutique industry, the personal trainer industry, the one-on-one sports specific industry, the big box gym industry, or HVLP as we call it, high volume, low price point, high value, low price point. These concepts are all of them are going to move into training, not exercise. That's what's really going to happen is people are going to start taking training seriously like a professional athlete would take their training, and it's going to be less casual exercise and casual activity, although I think that stuff has its place and will always have its place. I like pickleball, and that's an activity for me. But at the end of the day, we're going to train more, right? Burn Boot Camp, I think, will lead the way in that. Like if you have Les Mills on one side of the spectrum and you have one-on-one sports-specific, like LeBron James trainer on the other side of the spectrum, like LeBron James will always need a one-on-one trainer because he's the best athlete in basketball and he needs to focus on his specific weaknesses. We'll never go there because that's not our business model. And we're also never going to be Les Mills. And then CrossFit's probably right in the middle. And then we're closer to the side where LeBron James is on with our members, in which we'll do group personal training and periodization supplemented by focus meetings that keep you individually on track. And that will be what I mean by training is that you'll have a specific performance goal or a plan. You're going to come to the gym working backwards to get there. You're going to reach that goal. You're going to reset your goals, and it's going to be periods of activity that have a specific outcome. So I think that's where the whole market will go. I like to believe that we'll be leaders in that, and then you supplement that with a real personalization of fitness, right? Using AI, pulling wearables in, pulling data in. The data, we're in the data revolution now. Over the next 10 years, we're going to be in the data application revolution, to where we're going to take the data, and there's going to be these secular technologies that are built that are meant to assess your performance specific personally to that training regimen that I just spoke about, and it's going to help you get to that performance goal better by it's probably going to kill the nutritionist industry. You're probably going to get a lot of nutritionists that lose their job if they don't go into like AI and they don't go into the data drip, because the nutritionist, the AI is going to be able to do two things in health and fitness way better than anybody is going to be able to do it. Two things. It's going to be able to create meal plans based on somebody's genome way better than a nutritionist can, way cheaper, way faster. I think the nutritionists are in trouble. And I love the nutritionists, and I want to relay my opinions early. So just in case you are one, I want you to know that there's hope for you, because I think that there's a whole business that can be made of really leaning into technology and using that to scale to help more people get nutritionists. One-to-one model will probably go away largely because the AI is going to be able to do it so much better. And from a fitness perspective, fitness programming will know, like any business that's just based on fitness programming, meaning like a trainer writes you a program and says, here's your program, thanks for your $99 a year, that I think will largely go away, because already AI can program better than any one human can. But I'm super pro-human, by the way. Obviously, I'm super pro-community. And what AI is actually going to do is it's going to program for us way better than we could ever program for ourselves. It's going to make our Burn Bootcamp programming contextual to every gym, to every member, to every trainer, to every person, to every piece of equipment, to every layout of the gym, to every square footage that they have. Our trainers are going to be able to talk to AI, manipulate the program in a much more hands-on, real-time way than they do now, so we'll always be in control. And here's where the rubber hits the road, right? AI is going to be able to empower our trainers to do more of what makes us human, to do more of what builds our community, and that is make the adjustments real-time with you, right? AI is not creative. It is a generating machine. It is not a creation machine. You might think so because it can create images, but if it didn't have any reference images to create those images from, it wouldn't be able to do it on its own. Ask it to make something that doesn't exist yet, right? It probably has some trouble coming up with, what do you even mean it doesn't exist yet? Or it could only pull from, theoretical text that already exists on the internet of how to invent something. So I hope that I'm not going to go too much longer on this. I just want to lay out where the future of this is really going from a nutritionist and in a gym membership standpoint. It's going to be much more, like I said, just to wrap this up, much more training, periodization, phased focus. People are going to take training more seriously, and then we're going to be able to empower their results much better with AI, and empower our trainers who are responsible for that, like accountability. That's not going anywhere. Here's what AI won't fix. It won't add value to. It's not going to add value to the emotional connection that you have with other human beings. In fact, it's going to make that even more valuable. It's not going to be able to look at a human being and scan it real time and say, hey, where are the asymmetries globally in this person's musculature at the moment? And it's not going to be able to have a one-on-one focus meeting, sitting down with you and building that relationship. And so just look at AI as a trainer tool, an assistant nutritionist to a trainer to help amplify results. And the punchline here's what the real punchline is of the fitness industry in the next 10 years. It's people will expect to get results out of their regimen, out of their membership. It will move from activity and exercise to training. Activity and exercise are unplanned. Training is planned. There's a goal. Everyone's going to move to goal orientation. That's just my prediction, okay? All right, question number 2. Rachel from Knightdale, North Carolina. If you could change one thing about the current health and fitness industry, what would it be and why? What would it be and why? So if I could change one thing about the health and fitness industry, I think the one thing that I would change immediately right now is I would do like a call to all major brands and their CEOs and their leaders. And if I had like a magic wand and could convince them to do this all at once, this would be my number one strategy to shift the paradigm in the health and fitness industry. I'd pull them all together. I'd take my magic wand and I would say, instantly, I would shift the marketing message and the mentality of everybody sitting around me on that table, the CEO of Orange Theory, the founder of CrossFit, the leadership team at Planet Fitness, and I would make a ploy. I would beg them to put people and the results of their team members, of their customers, their members, put the results of people over the profit for themselves. And I would make the argument that when we do put the health and the happiness of our people over in priority, in first position to the profit for ourselves, that in turn we will actually generate more profit for ourselves, because we will have then maximized with pure authenticity, pure integrity, and a pure value proposition of wanting nothing more for the families, the people in this amazing world, amazing country of ours, to be the happiest and healthiest we possibly could make them through adding the most value we could. That is obviously not the case today, because the number one company in our industry in Planet Fitness would prefer that you do not show up. And I'm not suggesting that's right. I'm not suggesting that's wrong. I don't believe in projecting right and wrong onto other people. I'll just tell you, that's not what I want to do. The question is, what's one thing about the current health and fitness industry that I would change, and why? I would change the message that the top 5 companies seem to have philosophically kind of bound together and said, hey, if you do this, this might work for us as well. And instead of making it absolutely impossible, here's an example, right? Instead of making it absolutely impossible for somebody to cancel a box gym membership, you got to freaking call 13 people. You got to fly to Phoenix. You got to stand in a line out in the hot sun. They're going to close the doors on you at 6 p.m. And when they're supposed to close at 6:30. And then you got to stay there, wake up the next morning, do it all over again. And you're still probably not going to get it canceled, because you got to go fly back home to North Carolina, get on the phone with the 1-800 number. You know what I mean? It's like, when does that end? It's like, how about this, guys? How about we just don't let it get to the point where people are encouraged not to use their membership and we call them the first time they miss the day that they said they were going to come? What if we weren't afraid to get on the phone with somebody in an industry and say, hey, listen, as an industry, and say, hey, listen, I want you here, and you deserve to be here because you have a family that's at home that needs you, and you need to have the energy, because you know and I know that if you don't have energy, you can't give it. So I'll see you tomorrow or Wednesday, without the fear of, oh, here's how it is, guys, in the industry right now. Like, leave it to me to give you an insider look of the inner circles of the fitness industry. Right now, if you don't come for a couple months, they do not want to talk to you. Stay your butt at home. Do not call them. Ooh, they're biting their nails. If somebody brings up a strategy to reactivate all the members that they had that aren't coming. No. Don't do that, because you're going to remind them that they have a membership that they're not using, and they're going to cancel, and it's going to hurt our profit. That's what I would change. I would secondarily, I would change one more thing. You asked for one thing. I'm going to change one more thing though. Because this is a two-way relationship, right? Because we don't have the proper, in my opinion, one man's opinion, we don't have the most optimized, highest and best use, most proper, most prioritized marketing message at the top of the fitness industry. What now happens is that we've got a consumer base or a membership base or a marketplace that turns to things like Ozempic, that turns to things like GLP-1s, because they haven't been told from the people that they respect, hey, no. Here, like, imagine a TV commercial was like this. Hey, knock, knock, listen, I love you, I don't even know you, and I love you. And I'm here to tell you this. Because I love you, I have to tell you the hard truth. This fitness industry, this health journey is not about what you look like. This is about who you are becoming. Because who you are becoming is far more important than what you look like. That your six-pack will not make you happy. That a ripped set of quads won't make you happy. That strong biceps won't make you happy. What makes you happy is the resilience you build, the doubt you overcome, the shame that you diminish, the peace, the joy, the happiness, the love that you feel from going inward, not outward, to do the hard work in order to optimize the character of oneself, in order to find what's deep inside of you and bring it out, knowing that you didn't need anything external in order to feel better inside, in order to feel whole, to feel healthy, to feel happy. You didn't need the Ozempic. You didn't need the drug. You didn't need the shot, the pill, the fad. You didn't need that. Why? Because you had everything that you needed inside of you all along. And when you had the philosophy, because you hear it from the people at the top of go inward and pull out of you what's already in there, unleash your inner beast, you might have a better chance and a better likelihood of doing so if you heard that from the top. But that would be my message. You don't need to go outside in. The inner world is what you can control, so control it. And guess what? I'm not mad about GLP-1s. I'm not mad about drugs. I'm not mad about fads. I'm not here to demonize anything. Here's what I'm here to do, is tell you, once you do the foundational things, eat, sleep, train, repeat, you do not need that other shit. It will not help you. Trust me, I've done it. I've taken the GLP-1s on top of a solid foundation. It did nothing. Absolutely nothing. I did it experimentally so I could talk to it, and it did nothing for me. I'm one man. It could do something for you. I'm not saying it's not going to do anything for you. But execute the foundations, and I promise you that you're not going to need anything outside of you to put inside of your body for you to feel whole and for you to feel happy, because the development of your character is what makes you a healthy and happy person. And part of the development of your character, in my opinion, the main pillar to that is work out every day. And don't just work out, but train. Do something demanding. Do something that you don't want to do, because stepping over that doubt, stepping over that procrastination onto the other side of that is where all the magic is. And I am officially off my rant and off my soapbox now. Okay? You can't find that on the internet, Chelsea. So we don't have anything to pull up from the web on that one. But on this next one from Monica, we will, okay? Falls Church, Virginia. Monica, thank you so much. So, how do you manage energy levels throughout your day for peak productivity? Peak productivity. Can you just Google for me? Just Google this. What is the definition? Let's look up the definition of peak productivity because I want to start at what this means, because what you ask for, you shall receive. So be careful what you ask for. Okay. Chelsea, peak productivity is. Can you actually just go to the actual definition? Is there a Merriam-Webster definition? What is peak productivity definition would be great. Just put definition. Perfect. Okay. All right. So, Jonathan, Rebecca Metzger, who many of you know, John and Beck to me, they exude this, right? Like, they own the Falls Church location. It's their newest gym. And, peak productivity is something they're interested. We talk about it after camp when we see each other at Lake Norman all the time, okay? They're all about peak productivity. And the definition of peak productivity refers to a period or state in which an individual or system is at its highest level of output or efficiency, performing at their very best. So how do you manage energy levels throughout the day for peak productivity to perform the very best? Okay, so I'm going to give you two answers on this one. First, I'm going to give you my kind of silly answer and something that I think is somewhat practical. And then I'm going to dive a little bit deeper and go a little bit more serious. So number one, so how do I manage peak productivity throughout the day? This is kind of like not serious and kind of a joke, but also true, is I keep blue raspberry Ignite with me all the time. And like, this is our, Burn Nutrition pre-workout formula. I take 1 scoop before every single workout. But, I'm hitting, let's see, about a 2:30, maybe 3:30 wall, because my morning workout happens at 5:30 or 6:45 in the morning. So about 3 o'clock, I'm hitting the wall. And as soon as I know that, I break out my Blue Raz Ignite, 2 dry scoops, bang, bang, right in the mouth, a little bit of water, swish it up in my mouth like this, and then I'm like all jacked up, and then I like bust into the conference room like the Kool-Aid man from like the 1990s kids Kool-Aid commercials, and he's like, oh yeah, he's like ready to go. That's me. Chelsea, we have a picture of the oh yeah Kool-Aid guy, do we? Yes, there it is. That's the one right there. Are we seeing that on our screen? Can everybody see that on the screen at home? Can they see it? Okay, great. Yeah, that's how I feel most days, and I have that little glass jar of Kool-Aid in my hand. That's my Ignite, and I really do that. I don't drink a ton of coffee. I'll drink coffee occasionally, so that's like my afternoon pick-me-up, and I love the Ignite feeling because it's so clean. It's such a clean feeling, and I don't get jittery from it, but it's arguable whether you're supposed to take pre-workout before a meeting, not a workout, but my team's the one that has to deal with Devin the Kool-Aid man busting in like, oh yeah. I kind of want to watch that commercial. We'll watch it later. We won't bore the people with that. I just wonder if I'm doing the voice right. All right, guys. So listen, that's like the funny way, but also the true way. Managing peak productivity throughout the day. One thing that I think is going to be a sleeper for you, and I'm not going to go into all the ways because I think it is very subjective to your story, the state you're in, your natural energy levels. But there is one thing. There's one tip, one piece of advice that I have that I know you might have heard this before, but is it white noise to you? Like, have you heard it so much that you're actually not doing it? And this one tip is the common denominator of how to increase peak productivity throughout the day for every human being on the planet, although peak productivity can be very subjective. And that one tip that I have for you is, and if you don't do this, you could be potentially sacrificing your metabolism by up to 30% if you're dehydrated. How many times has someone looked at you and said, hey, water, 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 water? How many times? There's this thing called white noise. It's called the law of familiarity, where we hear something so often, so much, that it's actually the best thing we could do for ourselves but it's completely irrelevant and out of sight, out of mind because we heard it so much that we just render it a cliche. And my call to action for you right now is to do this right now. Right now, people, I want you to stop what you're doing, unless you're like in the car, then just think about this. But stop what you're doing and write down, how much water did you have yesterday? How much water did you have yesterday? If the answer is less than half of your body weight in ounces of water, you got a lot of room. Okay, you got a lot of room. You could potentially increase your metabolism, potentially, some studies will show this, by 30% just by being hydrated alone. So we're talking about peak productivity and energy levels. Well, how could you build a house without a foundation? Right? Your body is water. So you got to be able to hydrate your body on a normal, daily, regular routine basis, predictably, so that you never end up with not enough day and too much water. How do we do this? Okay, number one tip. I wrote about this in Stop Starting Over, my very first book that I published. It was number one on Amazon Health and Fitness for like 4 straight weeks when we launched it back in 2018. So I appreciate everybody who's read that over the years. It's still going, actually, and I haven't done much with marketing. So if you want to pick it up, it's on Amazon, or just hey, if you actually just want to email in podcast@burnbootcamp.com. Chelsea's there. I can give you a free copy of the PDF version of Stop Starting Over. So anybody that hits podcast@burnbootcamp.com and subject line I want one, we will respond to those and we'll give you a PDF with the Stop Starting Over, the full book, the full manuscript, the link to it, so that you can read and you don't have to spend your money. But if you want a physical copy, you can obviously go get one on Amazon too. I'm a physical copy person. I can't read books on like Kindles or whatnot. Anyways, I digress. And what was I talking about? Oh, well, so we want to talk about like peak performance and water and hydration and how that impacts you. So less than half your body weight in ounces of water, you're a candidate to increase your metabolism just by this one thing. And so check yourself on that. So if you're not at peak productivity, where's your water intake at? Because your water intake has a lot to do with your clarity overall. It has a lot to do with like the ability to stay cognitively sharp. So that would be my number one piece of advice there, Monica, is to stay hydrated. Studies will show, and I should probably just start doing studies. I talked to so many of you guys out there at Burn Nation. I probably talked to about 10,000 of you about hydration over the last 10 years. And one thing I have noticed, I'd have to be silly not to notice like trends when you talk to that many people about their health and fitness. I'd have to be silly not to observe that like probably 85% of people are not hydrated enough. Yeah, it's crazy like how many aren't. So if you're thinking, wait a second, am I hydrated? Is this white noise? Is this the law of familiarity to me? Then you probably are extremely underhydrated. Watch what happens, y'all. There's 2 things that happen when you actually start doing them that fall into nutritionally, that fall into this white noise category. 2 things. Number 1, hydration. Number 2, protein. You have no idea how much energy you can have unless you're fully hydrated. And you especially don't know how strong you can be and how quickly you can gain results if you have the right amount of protein. Okay, water, protein. Let's make this very simple for you, okay? 100 Z's or ounces of water to start there. Or you can use half your body weight in ounces of water. Either one of those works for me. And then 100 G's, grams of protein. 100 Z's, 100 G's. We make it very easy. We're good at marketing around here at Burn Boot Camp. We want you to remember things, so we try to make it easy. 100 G's, 100 Z's. That's your formula. That's the 1-2 punch. You want peak energy every day. The gasoline for our body is called a calorie. The quality of that gasoline that you're putting into your engine really matters. You put diesel fuel into a Ferrari, it's going to run good or it's going to run bad. Which one? Good or bad? It's going to run poorly because that's not the most optimized fuel for that machine. So we got to optimize fuel, calories for your machine, calories and water. Those are the 2 fuel sources. And that's where we can start, everybody. Okay. Last question comes from Natalie. By the way, if you'd like to use that podcast at burnbootcamp.com email to email in producer Chelsea and ask your question, you could be featured as well as your franchise partner, and you could represent your location on either a Burn HQ Crew episode or Ask Devin Anything episode here with me. Last one. Okay. Natalie from Wexford, PA, a reminder. She asks, what advice can you give to a member aspiring to be a burn trainer one day? All right. I'm going to be super concise and short on this one. As I mentioned, I got to get back to my meeting downstairs, but I'm honored to and privileged to spend some time with you guys. So I'll give a great answer, but this one will be a little quicker here. If you're a burn member right now and you're looking to become a Burn Bootcamp trainer, the greatest news on the planet you're going to hear today is this is one of our core strategies here at Burn Bootcamp is to identify talented, enthusiastic fitness enthusiasts who are excited, who have the natural energy, who have the proprioception or the awareness of their body in space and time, who are willing to step up and pass our strength and conditioning assessment or the Burn Bootcamp SAC, which for males is 50 burpees, 50 pull-ups, 50 burpees, 50 push-ups, 15 pull-ups, 25 double unders, a half a mile run, and 50 jump squats. And for females is 25 burpees, 25 push-ups, 5 pull-ups, 25 double unders, a 5.5 mile run, and 75 jump squats. And then you've got to take the NASM, the NASM, or another NCCA accredited, National Council of Certifying Agencies, accredited fitness certification, or a 4-year exercise science degree at a reputable university. Then, once you do those two things, as you can see, I'm stacking up the barrier of entry to be a Burn Bootcamp trainer. The third thing is then you got to come to Burn University, or you have to pass the onboarding that happens at the local location level that's administered by those trainers who have come to Burn University. Now, I say all that to say this. There's a huge trend of us creating our own trainers, our members who love Burn Bootcamp inside and out. They have natural command. They train hard all the time. They felt the experience. They have a transformation in which they felt that they can then pass to somebody else, because we all know you can't transfer the energy that in which you do not have. So we recruit them to be a part of our training teams and a significant part of our training teams. And listen, we love it. We love it. But there's also the side of it of there's career professionals, and these career professionals want to come to Burn and they want to make a name for themselves because they've been everywhere else and they love what we do and their philosophy matches ours perfectly and they want to be a part. And that's what our hybrid training team is made of. It's made of the best professionals that we can find who already align to our philosophy, and then our memberships who have the natural intangibles. When we marry those two things together, voila, you get Burn training teams, okay? Now, however, I must say, and our trainers are really going to appreciate this, and because we have training teams, not training dictators, training teams. And just because you are a member and you want to be a trainer doesn't always mean that you're going to get that opportunity. Okay, we have a championship culture. What does that mean? That means that the players, the team members, the trainers that we put on our teams, they have to work together like a team. They got to play their roles like a team, and they got to have the same attitude, effort, and belief that a championship culture team would have. All right, so that you do not have a birthright as a member to become a trainer at Burn Bootcamp. However, we will look to our members to say, those of you who do want to be a part of this organization and be a part of our training team, we highly encourage that. We highly encourage the unencouraged. We highly encourage a franchise partner who's a single mom of 3 who other brands might look at and say, hey, you might not be financially qualified or experientially qualified. We're going to go to that person and say, you're exactly who we want to partner with because we're the encouragement company, right? We believe encouragement is free, and we believe that too many organizations charge for encouragement, and you're going to get it for free. However, that does not mean you are entitled to the position. You are encouraged to go chase it. And I will be honest with you and truthful with you about the barriers that it takes in order for you to cross over this championship standards line, members, and it's all going to start and stop with you with the SAC, Strength and Conditioning Assessment. Go get that thing. Go after it. Do not complain about it. Do not make excuses for it. Do not ask to modify it. unless you're like severely injured, go after it. No excuse, no caveats. If you don't pass it your first time, good. That I hope you don't, because I want to see how mentally resilient you are. This thing doesn't exist so you can pass it. It is an 86% fail rate on the first attempt. 86% of the time, somebody wants to come to Burn Bootcamp, they do the SAC, they fail. Welcome to Burn. Because this is all about failure. We are chasing failure in the gym with our members. We are trying new ideas, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't work. We are an idea culture. We'll chase new ideas. So, welcome to the team. And if you have what it takes and you earn that jersey on your chest and you're a member, it will taste so much sweeter. And I know all my burn trainers, there's about 3,000 of us out there now. I know all of us right now that are listening to this would appreciate me saying that. And I hope you as an inspiring member who is a trainer also appreciate me saying that, knowing that this is something of merit, of value, that you have to actually go out and you have to go after it with a game plan. You got to go earn it. So go earn it. And I highly encourage you to do that, but spots will not be given away for free. And I hope that is a fair way to approach this. So, everybody, appreciate it. Natalie, Rachel, Monica, Ryan, guys, podcast at Burn Bootcamp if you want to get a question in just like they did. Appreciate you guys listening today. I know you could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with me. Leave me an Apple review right now, please. We have 155 of them right after this episode. I want to go in and I want to see 100 and at least like 72. Can you guys make that happen for me? Be one of those 155 to 172 on Apple, and we're going to keep on growing. We're going to keep showing up, and I know you will too. 2 claps on 2. 1, 2.